Stretched out in the northern reaches of the Central Territories, the Minosovic North is an expansive region teeming with rich cultures and ancient traditions. Once an independent kingdom bearing its namesake, the region now teems with a cold reminder of the past, notably the matriarchal order established by the first queen, but also the scars that the last war left behind. The region has 4 distinct lands, with their own geography that have shaped the lifestyles of those who live there. To the far east, the Keskabar coast is covered in grasslands and flanked by 2 mountain ranges. Coastline, a vital conduit for maritime transport, facilitates crucial connections between the empire's northern and southern regions. Several port towns dot the southern and eastern shores, with Ivazel and Frialuk reigning as the largest. These towns serve as primary hubs for trade, welcoming and processing substantial maritime traffic, fostering a bustling economic activity crucial for the region's prosperity. The Boda Swamp is believed to be haunted by the Fae, and most normal folk do not venture into it without reason. The residents of these lands harbor a deep-seated aversion to all forms of magic. Long ago, the Magi here sacrificed their bodies for more power. In doing so, they became immortal. However, they lost their sanity in the process. Stories of these ravagers are still retold, both as cautionary tales and to keep children on their best behaviors. The Empire's staunch restrictions on magic earned the loyalty of the Keski people and convinced many to join the cause as mage hunters. The Vuna Step is said to be the flattest land on the continent. Most of its citizens live in nomadic tribes that follow game across the region. Temporary towns and villages pop up and disappear around the numerous small watering holes found on the plain. Permanent settlements are found along the central river, Yukunza, and to the east where the Sun, the largest city of the region, is located. The Yukunza River spans the entire steppe, flowing east all the way to the western tip of the Dragon's Mouth. The Sages of the Well is a college of magi that dates back to before the Empire of Zelduga. The sages live in a tower near the center of the steppe and draw their power from a well within the base of the structure. They are some of the most powerful magi in the region, yet they are only concerned with the lands of the steppe, for if they stray too far from their tower, their magic dwindles into nothing. The Riverlands sits in the center of the Minosovic North, between the Uralkot mountain range and the cursed lands of Zafarpoda. The land here is lush and thick with forests and rolling hills intertwined with countless rivers and streams. The main river that runs through these lands is called the Kolonza and is the longest river in the Central Territories, stretching westward all the way to the Solek coast. There are 10 sister rivers that connect with the Kolonza, which in turn have dozens of smaller rivers that connect to them. As most of the settlements are river towns, they rely on the rivers for survival. Those farther down the Kolonza River are larger, with access to more resources than those farther upstream. Roslavat, Kumeski, and Elistal are the biggest cities in the region. Annually, the Riverwalk Festival brings people from all across the Riverlands together to celebrate unity and prosperity. During this time, inhabitants engage in a ceremonial walk along the Kolonza, expressing reverence for the lifeline of the region. People offer prayers and blessings along their trek, which culminates in a tiny fishing village called Kravat for the largest festival in the entire Central Territories. Zafarpoda is an old Minosovic word for doomed lands. This collection of mountain ranges and valleys acquired this nomenclature only after the spread of the Viridian Plague, a malevolent infection unleashed upon the world from the dead city of Moscow. Unfortunately, it isn't the only curse that stains these lands. The Minosovic Valley is the home to the Bavka, monstrosities somewhere between human and bull. The ruins of their labyrinthian city looms over the valley from the mountainside. It is said that the old queen of the Bavka resides there still, centuries after she and her people were struck down by their neglected god. While the curse that blights the Valley of the Bulls has been there for quite some time, a far more ancient malady roams the plains to the west. The Darkling Mist. A fog of shadows and memories, the Darkling Mist manifested during the reign of the Shadow Emperor, and drifts across the lands between the coast and the Kudalk foothills. Anyone who gets caught within it sees visions of the past from that area. However, if you stay too long in the Darkling Mist, you may draw the attention of the lost souls dwelling within it. A millennia ago, Minosova's first queen established a matriarchal society, which has endured across the region. Since its formation, only women were allowed to own land and hold positions of power in Minosova. This has led to villages, towns, and cities in the region to be prominently composed of women. Men traditionally have nomadic lives, journeying from settlement to settlement in caravans, where they serve as messengers, entertainers, and engage in temporary occupations within the communities they visit. Communal buildings provide temporary lodging for visiting men and serve as the hub of entertainment, festivities, and sometimes brothels while they are occupied. For those men desiring a more rooted lifestyle, they must make a formal petition to the leaders of a community, explaining why their citizenship would be an asset to them. Successful candidates earn the esteemed title of Ruka, allowing them to purchase land within the area. There is no tradition for marriage in the Minosovic North. Of course, romances between men and women do occur, but most of these unions are either for pleasure or procreation. Love within the community, both within settlements and among caravans, is common and accepted. Children are raised by the community's elders. When boys come of age, they join the next caravan that can take them, where they will receive the bulk of their training. For the people of Minosova, face tattoos are common, denoting an individual's place of birth, occupation, skills, and hopes and dreams. When a child comes of age, they get their first tattoos. For men, these tattoos are underneath both eyes, while women have their tattoos on their chin and jawline. As they hit milestones in their lives, they may add to their tattoos, just like the Ruka, who are given additional tattoos to mark their new station. During the reign of the Shadow Emperor, the trolls of the Western Valleys allied with Zilduga and terrorized the people of the Central Territories. These wild fae fed parts of their bodies to their most loyal minions in order to transform them into trollkin. Even though the empire of Zilduga is long gone, there are still those descended from the trollkin warlords among the Minosovic people. To this day, the stories of trolls and their kin are passed around the campfire. Trollkin themselves are not necessarily shunned in the region, as the first queen herself was one of them. Many heroines from Minosova's history claim trollkin blood, and there are a few full-blooded trollkin who travel the region as mercenaries. Varia, the first queen of Minosova, was an orc trollkin whose mother worked for the Shadow Emperor. She made a pact with one of the wild fae in order to have enough power to defeat her mother and free her lands from the clutches of the Shadow Emperor. After his downfall, the lands to the north became known as Minosova, and Varia became its ruler. As a child of oppression, Varia did not like that she was still bound to her wild fae master, and so sought out a way to use magic without relying on the whims of an alien being. Unfortunately, the Wild Fae discovered her plan and confronted Varia. The two fought, and Varia killed her master, releasing its power into the witch. With her newfound powers, Varia realized that if she defeated other Wild Fae, she could consume their power as well. Creating a gateway, she traveled to Faerie and began hunting any Wild Fae that she could find, until she became more Fae than mortal. Varia became so powerful, she was able to grant mortals a portion of her own power, just like her former master did for her. Calling herself the Grove Mother, Varia made pacts with other women from Minosova who devoted their lives to protecting the kingdom. These witches were called the Vedum and acted as sages, matriarchs, and defenders of the northern region. Since the Empire outlaws most kinds of magic, many of the Vedum have had to hide their practices. The Grove Mother favors women, and she only makes pacts with those whom she knows are women in their hearts. When a petitioner starts the ritual to make the pact with the Grove Mother, the Wild Fae judges her. If she has the heart of a woman, and if it beats for the vitality of the motherland, then the Grove Mother will accept a pact with her. The Karal are a sect of Vedum who have devoted themselves to patrolling the border between the Central Territories and Iceguard to the north. They lead solitary lives, living off the land and warding off dangerous animals, raiders, and wild magic. Because of the Empire's restriction on magic, most Karal never come into settlements. Instead, they rely on trading with travelers on the road or clandestine meetings. Long ago, the Karal served the queen from her seat in Moscow. This city was the capital of Minosova before the Empire conquered it. Now it is little more than a necropolis where those with the plague come to die. During the last days of the war, Minosova's queen was betrayed and assassinated by her own advisors. Minosova had been the last nation to stand against Rhodes, and the people were weary of the battle. The Queen's advisors had accepted a deal with Casimir Tempest to spare their lives in return for handing over Minosova. However, the Queen was a powerful witch devoted to the Grove Mother, and with her dying breath, cursed those advisors, Moscow, and the land surrounding it with an affliction that would be known as the Viridian Plague. This disease slowly rots the body, while it drives the mind insane. Those who survive it long enough have said to see visions of the dead queen demanding allegiance and ordering them to destroy the empire. Most believe that the lands of Zafarpoda have been long abandoned, and no one in their right mind would still live there. But many of those who have been afflicted with the Viridian Plague feel an uncontrollable urge to travel to the dead city. Those who make the voyage are rarely ever seen again. In the aftermath of Rhodes' conquest of the Minosovic North, introducing the Church of the Golden Conquest posed a significant challenge. The deeply ingrained matriarchal society of the region clashed with the traditional hierarchy of the church, where both priests and priestesses held key roles. To bridge this cultural gap, the church recognized a number of Minosovic heroines to the status of hallows in its pantheon. These revered figures were deeply embedded in the region's history, allowing the Minosovic people to connect with the church's teachings. This strategic integration allowed the church to gain access and establish a spiritual foothold in the Minosovic North. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the Minosovic North. If you liked the video, it's not the first and it won't be the last. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next entry of the Acleon Chronicles.